And I'm so mad at myself because I know I said some good stuff. Cool. All right. Looks like we are recording. So we have actually got a couple people in here. So super stoked about that. If you have not joined one of these before, the way that it works is I sit here for an hour and answer any and all PPC questions that I can. There's two ways that you can ask questions. One, there is a hand raise at the bottom of the screen. Feel free to hit that. It'll give me a notification. I will call you up, bring you up. You can turn on camera, at least turn on audio. That allows you to give a little bit more back and forth with your questions. Normally those are a bit prioritized. I try and swing back and forth. There's also a chat box, so I keep an eye on that. And if you would prefer to ask a question in chat, you can feel free to do so. Cool. So yeah, I know we're only 2 minutes in, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to use either of those two options and we can get started. Otherwise, I can, sure. Abdul has a question, so I'm going to pin you and bring you up. Feel free to unmute your mic and turn on your camera if you like.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So, my question is that since 24th October, I noticed a drip in my conversion rate, and recently last week I was getting good sales. Basically, like you'd say, the account was basically in loss, and I was getting profits in the last week. But yesterday my conversion rate drops to where very went very low, and I was getting almost $1,000 sales per day, and yesterday I only get $100 sales.
Got it.
So what I was doing is I was basically spending just like a normal day, and I was not expecting that much spend. So I basically the what I earned in the week, I lost it in a day basically. So what should be the SOP to track my budget and stop the spending on this? Okay, this if this happens to me in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wish there was global spend alerts. That would be great. I've been talking to some internal teams. Was like, hey, if we could get an alert, like all of a sudden spend spikes, that would be awesome. We have noted that with some of our accounts. There was one account we had that had a tremendous spend spike, and I believe it was just due to a whole bunch of influx in traffic to the space. So what we've opted to do is kind of look at what our spend is on a daily level and then set an overall account cap a little bit higher. So to give ourselves some leeway, because if something pops up, we don't really have any spend restrictions per se in the account, but just to give us at least a cap so we know spend's not going to double or triple overnight without us being aware of it. Keep in mind that's only going to cover sponsored products. That won't cover sponsored display or sponsored brand ads. So if you have a lot of those built out, it's still potential to run, but at least you have some sort of, I liken it to like a fail-safe switch. So if you're having issues with like all of a sudden spend going up overnight, then there's that issue. Yeah, as far as the conversion rate fluctuations, we saw that in our accounts. I want to say it was primarily somewhere around the 17th, but definitely the 24th and the 27th. We noticed some weird numbers, like huge out of nowhere spikes in ACoS, etc. I was able to track it down to a definite and sudden drop in the ad conversion rates primarily, although the unit session percentage, i.e. like the average conversion rate, actually remained the same, which has me to believe either it's a change in Amazon algorithm or I'm looking back at the numbers now. I think stuff has been retroactively updated, so it might be that sales attribution wasn't correctly calculated for those days. So I would keep an eye on that date over the next couple weeks. What we actually saw is that we started, when these things kind of happen, it's rough because you don't want to call everything, oh, it's just Amazon data delay, and then you're not optimizing the way you need to. But if you're looking at a single day in isolation, I like to be careful because sometimes it is a data delay. And what you'll do if you freak out over one day is you'll over optimize things when in reality things aren't running as rough as you thought they were. And so if you've done some optimizations, I don't think it's a bad thing. I would continue to watch sales over the next couple of days. I would look at sessions and I would look at your impressions. And if you see a sudden drop in either of those, you know, you probably over optimize the account. So I would keep an eye on that. But as far as like moving forward, I think just setting an account cap will be helpful for you. Just again, to kind of catch things if they speed off. Yeah, these kind of things, primarily when you see spikes like that, they come from traffic, and it's really hard to anticipate traffic outside of your usual like Prime Day, Cyber Monday, Black Friday kind of things.
Perfect. So what I do is I basically do bids optimization on daily basis and put budget cap and put portfolio budget cap so that my sponsored brand campaigns and display campaigns don't spend on night time. And so may I ask another question about my
Yeah,
another account?
I don't have any in the chat, so go ahead.
Yeah. So it's about the SD campaigns, sponsored display campaigns. So we are running an SD campaign, but basically, my client has given me only one SKU, and I'm running SD campaign on that SKU only. But we are getting sales on another SKU, and it's being attributed to that campaign. How can it be possible?
Yeah, that does happen. So you're only trying to advertise one of the SKUs, but is it a variation listing?
No, not a variation listing.
But it's another SKU within the catalog, correct? Within the
Yes,
same
exactly.
brand? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's possible for it to be attributed providing, I think, I'm trying to remember if it's under the same account or the same brand. But Amazon does attribute, they call it like the halo effect, I believe, is what it's referred to as.
So it should be noticed under the sponsor display campaigns, right? But I thought that attribution is given to sponsored brand campaigns, right? Because there are reports of attribution.
Yeah. You can look, I believe there is an advertised product report for the sponsor display campaigns. You'll be able to see the changes there. I know there's an advertised product report for the sponsor display campaigns. I don't remember if there's a purchase product report. There is purchase product reports in sponsored product ads. So for anyone not aware of what those two things are, the advertised product report basically shows you the sales that happen for sales spend that happen for the product that you're advertising on, but it will show you the sales that are attributed to not that exact, the sales that were actually gained through another product. They are attributed to the advertised product. So if somebody clicks on something in the advertising, the sale will be attributed back to that ad click, but the actual purchase can happen on a different product in the brand, different variations. So if you have like large variation listings, it's very common to have one that kind of kills it in the advertising and then the other that crushes it on sales. Sometimes those two are the same thing, not always. So if you want to kind of see where the differences are in those, you can pull an advertised product report, which will give you a breakout of the numbers. But if you want to see like the actual, like, hey, this is the one getting the click, this is the ASIN that's getting the sale. I don't remember if it's ASIN or SKU, but either one, you can look at that in the purchase product report. The advertised product report won't give you the actual product that's being purchased, but you can at least see how many sales were for the original advertised product. Not
Perfect.
sure if that's helpful.
So may I ask another question, because I have so many questions, and if you want me to stop, yeah, I can stop.
Okay, well, let me give a quick spiel to everybody who just joined. So hi, welcome. My name is Elizabeth Greene. I run an Amazon advertising agency called Junglr, and I do this just for fun. Our Q&As every once in a while. So the way this format works is if you would like, there is a chat box. You can feel free to leave a question in the chat box. I'll make sure that that question gets answered. And then if you would like to be brought up, like Abdul, to be able to ask questions back and forth, there is a little hand icon. Yeah, so Sammy raised a hand. So Abdul, I'll come back to you though. If anyone else, if we have another spot, okay?
Yeah, yeah, sure, no worries.
Cool. All right, let me bring up Sammy. So similar, you can feel free to click the hand raise icon and I'll pull you up and you can ask a question.
Hi Elizabeth, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm fine. So I have a question regarding a newly launched product. I have recently launched that product on my client's account. So
Mm-hmm.
we are spending like $100 on ads daily,
Mm-hmm.
and we have spent like $2,000
Mm-hmm.
in 2 months, like, but still we are unable to rank on that product because we are getting $100 of sales and $100 of spend daily.
Mm-hmm.
We are total on a loss, but uh, I feel like most of our sales are from broad and phrase campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go into the search terms data, we got a single clicks on bunch of irrelevant
Yeah.
keywords. And as the CPC is so high, the CPC is like $3 or $4, and the retail price is so low, like $12 and $30,
Yeah.
$13. So I feel like all of the budget is going on that area. I try to optimize that the budget goes down from $100 to like $30 to $40 a day with the same sales. But still, my question is, my I have two questions regarding that. First,
Mm-hmm.
why am I not able to rank on that product after spending like a couple of thousand on that product after in advertising? And the second is how to deal on that product where you are getting most of the sales on like or on broader targeting, but
Mm-hmm.
your CPC is too high and you get a bunch of single clicks. There are a bunch of single clicks keywords, and a single click costs us a lot, and it is
Yeah.
taking all of our budget, and we are
Yeah.
totally on a loss. So please elaborate that.
Yes, that is a rough spot to be in. I'm not gonna lie. So, question for you: is the budget running out before the end of the day?
No, no, no. The budget is not running out.
Okay. Um. Yes. Have you tried going into the search terms and building out exact match campaigns around the converting search terms?
Yeah, I've tried that, but like I have done the research on that, but 60 to 70% of our sales are from broad and phrase targeting, and 40% are from exact targeting. But still, the as the sales are from broad and phrase, I am not bringing the bid down. Maybe I am not. I will just stop the sales we are getting.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, yes, in theory, broad and phrase match just might work and better. Sometimes it happens. It's so obnoxious because you really want to start to trigger it through exact match. I would recommend starting to lower bids on phrase and broad match. Now you're just gonna have to test it. You can do that in increments over the course of maybe a week or so. But the goal would be if you are really having issues with a whole bunch of irrelevant clicks or just clicks that don't convert, you're going to want to start to get more restrictive with where you're spending the ad dollars. So if you can have those trigger through the exact, that's going to be your best bet long term. I would notify the client like, hey, we're dealing with ACoS issues. We've identified these keywords that convert. We are going to be doing this test over the last couple of days. We'll watch sales closely, but this is in our best interest long term. And I would run it like that. It never hurts to loop clients into your strategy, give them the logic, and then let them know that there might be fluctuations. But long term, I have had accounts where I cannot get anything to work in exact match. It makes no freaking sense, but that would be the case. Broad and phrase match are not going to be good for ranking, though. I will say that. And then as far as having issues with ranking, that's probably comes down to like what your sales velocity is through those keywords. There's a lot of times where we're making killer sales, but just the competition makes higher sales than we do through those particular searches. Have you done any more, like have you reevaluated the keywords that you're targeting at all? Gone through to see if there's anything that
Yeah.
maybe has a bit lower cost per clicks you could go after?
hmm So what I've seen that we launched this product 3 months ago, but
Mm.
we spent like $500 to $600 on advertising for a week. But something happened and our product was suppressed. Our listing was suppressed and it
Mm.
was gone. So it takes a month to reinstate that listing, and for a
Yeah.
month the stock was there and it wasn't live, all ranking was lost. And you know how good the seller support is.
Yeah.
It took like a month to reinstate that listing, and we were on the bottom of first page within a week so after launching that. But as soon as we got reinstated, and the product was on fifth page on most of the keywords, on most of the main keyword, and still after spending a lot, we are really able to make on the top of the third page, not even on the second page. We dropped from the bottom of the first page to the fifth page, and now we're on the third page.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's a rough spot to be in, especially when everyone's looking strictly at the ads to make the difference. You can see if the client's fine. I mean, sometimes you need to go outside of ads to make up that sales velocity. So things like coupons, pricing, how are the images, can they get better ratings? Anything that can drive up conversion rates is going to help with the rankings. Being suppressed for a bit, that just sucks. Sometimes you got to treat these things like a relaunch. So if I was in like a legit launch phase, I didn't have any data to go off of, I would say, hey, I'm driving sales through these keywords. It's not that my budgets are running out. That's not my issue. I can't get rankings on these things. And the cost per clicks are so high. My game plan there would probably be to reevaluate what I'm testing. Are there other keywords in the market that I can get better conversion rates on, or I can afford to take that $500 and spend all of it on, like, say 3 keywords that I actually can drive rank on. I would see if there's anything there. If you're spending $500 a day and you have a week and you have broad and phrase match, you might be able to find some things in the data, most likely. So I would start in your search term reports. I would look for things with decent enough velocity. So you're looking at clicks and impressions at that point. And I would look for things that you have good conversion rates on. And I would test those in exact match, get really targeted and really aggressive with those, and then see if you can move the needle on ranking.
So yeah, I'm doing that, and I've got a bunch of keywords. What I'm curious about is, for example, I've got a single click on a keyword and I was not converting on that. But I don't think so single click is enough to test that keyword. A single click cannot make the keyword bad or good. So what I'm thinking is, if I'll take the keywords which are making sales and put them in their own exact campaigns, and I'll lower the bid on phrase campaigns, it might cut the visibility on the keywords which are single click. Maybe the keywords which are single click can get a lot of sales if we will test them, but still, if we need to test them, we need the budget. And
if you're
that's
dealing with limited budgets and you have high A costs and you just can't sustain it, I'm fine sometimes sacrificing visibility for profits. Sometimes we had a client that we signed on, was a very large client, and they were looking at doing their entire catalog. They have a lot of products that aren't being advertised right now. And one of the things they came to us was because they're struggling with profitability. And so I got with my account manager on strategy. It's like, oh, look at all the stuff we can do. We can launch. They have this huge catalog. And I'm like, look, we're dealing with profitability. Yes. Do they technically have the budget to launch their entire catalog, build it all out? Do we have the bandwidth to do that? Yes. But we're dealing with profitability. And when you're dealing with launches, you're going to be giving up some profitability to gain data. So we're not doing the entire catalog. We're picking the top 3 that make the most sense, that have good conversion rates and have some good sessions behind them. We're going to push those and test. So we can test in limited batches. So sometimes, even though, yes, could we get visibility on the entire catalog? Great. But we're going to give up profitability for that. So you have to take a look at the account and just see, like, what are the objectives? And if you're struggling with ranking, you need those organic sales. So your objective right now is ranking, and you're going to try and get that with as good a profits as you can. So I would say lower down the phrase so you can direct stuff to exact and just push hard.
Would you recommend having external traffic on that keyword at this time?
That's up to you. So I don't deal with external traffic. I heard mixed results one way or the other on how it really affects ranking. And also, if you're dealing with limited budgets, I would just put the budgets to the stuff that convert right now. And those keywords convert. You just have to get them in a space where you can strategically spend the money on them, which would be exact.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Cool. Mark has a question.
Not a question as much as just an addition to the point on
Yeah.
the previous question. So the other thing we've seen good success with is where we're struggling to convert on products. It's because other advertisers are advertising on product pages. So it might be worth also activating a small brand defense campaign. If you're struggling to get conversion rate on some of the keywords that you're targeting, it might not be that the keywords and the product match are bad. It might just be that you're being outbid on your own product pages. So it's probably worth just activating a brand defense campaign as well.
Yeah, that's a good call. And another good call, actually, we've been able to get some Amazon Choice badges strictly through aggressive product targeting ads as well. So I think there's a lot of benefits to product targeting. Some people think like, oh, it's not keyword, it doesn't help rank. But you're still getting sales if you can get those sales profitably. I think it's still good.
At the end of the day, you need the sales to get the rank. So if you're losing out on sales, then you're never going to rank for the keywords that you want to target anyway. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, even if the keywords are low volume, potentially activating a brand campaign for those as well. Because if you can appear at the top of the search page with a brand campaign for those keywords, then even if that product specifically doesn't get the sales, your brand will become more known for those terms as well. So it's also worth maybe giving that a try. Even if you set the ACOS really low or set the bids really low and spend very little budget, at least it's some sort of extra visibility and it'll give you a bit of data.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
Okay.
No worries.
Thanks. I appreciate your comments. Cool. Let's see. I don't know if anybody else joined, but if anyone else joined and missed it, welcome. Format for this is if you have a PPC question, and Mohammed has one, so I shall bring him up. Feel free to raise your hand. You'll be brought up to ask the question live. We can have back and forth. Or if you prefer to ask your question in the chat, you can leave a question there, and I'll make sure those get answered. Hey. Oh, you will have to unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, so my question is related to a product which is right now in a couple of categories. It is a toy, but it is a lamp as well. So initially we had an issue with ACOS at the start. We launched it like 6 months ago, and then for the first 3 months it was just doing fine. The ACOS was around 90, or sometimes it touched 100, but later we saw a decline in the sales. What we did in the last month was we enrolled it for the outlet deals, and automatically the price went lowered from the threshold it was already. And we saw an increase in sales. The rating was around 3.9 for the product, but it improved as well. And we saw, a lot of organic orders as well at the same time. But once we got out of the outlet deals, we are again facing the same situation that we were facing before the outlet deals. And the product is nowhere as such in terms of ranking. And of course, the PPC spend is going above the roof as well. So the problem, the question that I'm trying to ask is the pricing the only thing which is which is sort of
Hey, Sean, how are
impacting
you?
us, or there can be other things which we need to
Can
test
you
in
remind
terms of,
me, I don't even know if we did it or not,
visibility of it?
what did we call?
Yes. So you're asking a question on pricing. I mean, it's possible. So you said you had better ACOS when you had lower pricing?
Yes, we did.
Got it. So, I mean, I guess the question you would have to ask yourself, and this is probably one for the brand owner or whoever knows the numbers, is at the lower price point, are you profitable? That would be the question. So if you can lower price and you can still regain profits, and you actually probably have better profits because your ACOS is lower, I'm assuming total ACOS would be lower as well, then it might make sense to pull the spend lever. As somebody who deals with ads, like I pull the ad lever, I tell my team all the time, like we can look at like, oh, look, you lowered price and the conversion rate is XYZ. It depends on what it looks like for the back end. I have known some people who that's their strategy. They just like go really low on price. They run it next to nothing on the ad side and they're able to rank doing that. And it makes sense for them. So I definitely can work. I think you just have to look at it from a profitability standpoint and like, can you stick it? Does it make sense for the brand? If it does, that might be your way to the top.
Perfect. And one follow-up question is that what do you personally recommend in terms of PPC, the advertisement side? What do you recommend? What should be a threshold for pricing? Like, should there be a sequence of changes in pricing that we should follow, or we should not? We should just let it be the way it is. Of course, the competitors are there, and we need to track them, and we have to develop a threshold for ourselves as well. But do you recommend sequential changes, like weekly changes or monthly changes in pricing that we can somehow follow?
Yeah, so for that, I know some people who are like super whizzes on price changes. I don't handle that, so I really couldn't tell you. I would just say at that point, track your conversion rates, track your ranking, track your profits, and kind of let the data help you determine what makes sense. As far as like an ad perspective, I would also look at it in terms of profits. Like if you're willing to lose out on the sales, just because the profits are not the profits, price is lower, you could still look at like total ACoS numbers. Say, okay, maybe you're shooting for 10% or something. So then you can look at total sales and say, okay, 10% of that is X. And then you can just know that that's your budget for ads. You can work backwards sometimes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool.
Sorry. I just wanted to add something to that as well.
You know something on price? If you don't know something on pricing, go ahead. I don't.
I was just going to say, like with things like Helium 10, they've got a Google Chrome plugin where if you visit the Amazon product page for competitors, you can see how their prices have been trending over time. So it might also be tracking whether your conversion rate dips because a competitor's price has changed. It could be that you're simply just not the cheapest product at the time. And it might be worth just looking into that. And you can look back over 365 days. So you can see if there are certain times a year where other competitors are making their prices lower, perhaps because there's less demand at that time of year. And that might be something seasonal that you need to take into account and just simply lower your price at certain times because there is less demand for it. And then you can capture more of the market. Possibly.
Yeah. Fun fact, if you have a product target that's killing it and all of a sudden it stopped converting, sometimes it's because a competitor went savage with their pricing.
Yeah. And sometimes that competitor is Amazon.
Yes.
Unfortunately. And they can afford to sell at nothing. So unfortunately for you, in that case, you're just screwed. But
Cool.
Yeah, so can I ask one more question, please?
Yes, let me bring you up.
Yeah. So my question is like,
go ahead.
I have a product, I have a good selling product in my client's account. The total ACoS was good. It was like 26% at that time, but I changed the title. I thought the title should be optimized, and I changed the title, and I saw that the ACoS went from 20% to 21% or 26% to 53 to 57%, and our click-through rate was dropped from 1.5% to 0.03%, and it was a drastic drop, and we saw a drop in ranking as well. So I thought that what I did was, after brand name, I changed the keyword. I changed the main keyword and added a couple of letters on that, and I thought it was the reason, because the price, the rating, the shipping, the image, all the things were same, and the only thing changed was title. So I just edited the title, and I took the previous title and I edited it on the listing, but still it's like a week, and the click-through rate is improved a little bit, but sales are also not that type, and because what it was in the previous period, and not the ACoS. The ACoS is also high, and the sales are also dropped. So have you been to this situation as well sometimes?
Fluctuations like this, not so we don't do listing changes, so that I can't speak to. I would say look at the data. I would really look at conversion rates heavily. You're going to want to look at your ad conversion rate as well as the unit session percentage, and just to determine, was it the conversion. So what I'm looking for in these cases, it's a what's changed question. So what changed in the data? Has my conversion rate changed? How much the product converts? That would explain the ACoS increase. No, look at the sessions. Are you getting more traffic? You can also look at the ranking. That gives you an idea on like traffic. So it could be that you're showing up somewhere different. It triggered like a re-indexing. You're showing somewhere different on the platform and those shoppers just behave differently. That kind of happens sometimes. My gut feeling would say it would be a conversion rate, just given that the click-through rate's lower. There's something that's not as appealing to shoppers for some reason in the title. Again, it could be where they're showing up. It could be like a re-indexing. None of us know how Amazon's algorithm works. If you're looking at increases in ACoS, you would want to look at, is it that ad spend went up or is it that ad sales went down? And so that can give you an idea of where to look. If ad spend went up, then you're looking at cost per clicks, and you're looking at clicks, because spend is cost per click multiplied by how many clicks you're getting. So you want to see, did my clicks go up? Did my cost per click go up? Which of those changed? And then that helps you identify where in the account that those changed. Yeah, so it's just going to be data analysis.
So the cost per click was the same, but what I've seen that the spending goes down. We were not spending as much, which we were spending previously, and as the click-through rate was dropped, the spend was also dropped. And when I changed the title, when I edited the title and took the previous one, the spend was normal. The spend was like what we were spending previously, but the sales were not like previous. The spend was the same, but sales were not like that. So I was just like, if you have faced this situation as well, if you have done some indexing things and saw a decrease in ad sales, and then when you edit it back, have you seen a drop in the sales still? Because still I'm seeing the drop in sales. I am not getting the same drop on the same spend which I was getting previously.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's things like this, you're like, what the heck? So you just got to look at the data. I would, like I said, I would check conversion rates. Because if the conversion rate changed, that has a huge trigger on a whole bunch of other things, like how many sessions are going on, how many of those sessions are converting. If your conversion rate is going down, then your sales velocity is going down, so your rankings going down. So I would check that. I would also check your rankings. It could be that all of a sudden you had a ranking drop, and sometimes what happens, it's very counterintuitive, but you'll see like ACoS increase, so you're trying to adjust bids to bring down the ACoS, but sometimes you kind of shoot yourself in the foot as far as the rankings go. So it might be that you need to push where you used to rank, like test getting more aggressive. Now, I would only get aggressive on the keywords that if you've been tracking the ranking, say, okay, this is where I was ranking. Now I did this. I had this issue with ranking drop. So I need to start pushing ads on these 2 to 3 keywords because this is where I used to be. I need to get back there. Again, it's kind of it feels counterintuitive because you see ACoS increase. But if you're also seeing sales drops, it could be that it's just that your ranking is dropping, and then you can leverage ads a little bit to get back there.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I have just increased the cost per click on those keywords which we were getting sales, but not now. And I'm also seeing the increase in spend, and we are slowly getting the sales which we were getting in the previous month or the previous period. And I will see that what will be the results. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. One other thing I've heard from people who do listing optimizations is more of a long-term play, but you can run A/B testing on titles. So if you're worried about changing up a title or something changing, if the title is like really crappy, then you probably just bite the bullet and go ahead with it. But if you need to, A/B tests are a great way to kind of like see how something performs. You won't get information back immediately. It's like a long-term thing. But that can be a good idea sometimes.
I tried to A/B test that product, but Amazon declined the request, saying that the product have lower traffic.
Yeah, sometimes you need more traffic to do that. Cool. All right. I'm gonna bring up.
Thank you.
Hamid, you had another question.
Hey, Elizabeth, do you hear me?
Hello.
How are
Yes,
you?
I can hear you. Can
How
you
are
hear
you?
me?
Yeah,
I'm
I
doing
can
good.
hear you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have a question related to gift category product.
Mhm.
Recently, before 2 months, I launched first time in gift niche product, and
Mhm.
Picasso and other brands in this niche, and we gave a great time to Picasso and ranked most of the keywords, and we are getting good sale in that category. I had a great experience in this, but the question is, we are out of stock for 2 months.
Mm.
That's the big issue.
Yeah.
But my client is telling me or pushing me to increase the price, same like Picasso, because
Mhm.
he is thinking that we will we it's times to take maximum profit, because we are out of stock for 2 months. What would you say about it? Should we increase the price or not?
Um, that can hurt you in rankings, but I mean, honestly, it's one of those things you don't know until you try. So I mean, if he's telling you to increase the price and he's the client, I would frame it like, hey, it's possible that this can hurt us because we've been out of stock for 2 months. We've lost all of our rankings. So we're pretty much starting from square one. I would definitely frame it and be very adamant that we are starting a relaunch. Remember how it took us a while to rank? Remember how we had ACOS and all of those things we had to go through in the beginning? We're going to have to go through that again. But tell him like, hey, if you want maximum profits, we will test the new pricing. We don't know how this is going to perform. So if he's saying test new pricing, I don't know if that always hurts depending on what the market is. If he's all of a sudden going to be like $5 across above what the entire market is, that's going to be
The product price is more than $40, and
yeah.
gift niche. And the issue is, I am also thinking that we are out of stock for 2 months. If I will increase price right now, but it will take some profit. He will take some profit, but after that, after 2 months, we will need to relaunch that product, because we lost all of the ranking. We will lose all of the ranking of all the keyword, because Picasso and other big brands and other big giants in this niche.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're correct. The only variable is we don't know what the conversion rate is for the new price point. So if he's telling you to do it, I would frame it like, hey, we don't know this. I will test it. And then I would pull data on his conversion rates, his click-through rates, all of that information that kind of tells you like shopper signals and how they're responding to the product before you went out of stock. And then I would test the new price point. And then depending on how the performance is, if you're really struggling with conversion rates, you can then bring him, hey, we used to convert like this. We used to have these click-through rates. Given the new price point, seems the market isn't responding. Here's your data signals. I think we need to lower pricing.
Yeah, got it. And I have another question related to gift niche.
Mhm.
We are in the same niche. We are on top of the top placement, top 1 to 2 spots of most of the keywords, most of the relevant keywords. But the question is, in the gift niche, I observed it very lower CTR. I tested
Mhm.
the price, I tested the title, A/B testing, but the CTR like 0.5% or 0.4%.
Mhm.
Do you also observe it?
Yeah, yeah. So anything that you have gifting, clothing, anything with style items, you're going to have a very low click-through rates. Everybody's looking for something very specific normally when they're going for giftable items or like home decor or clothing. The other kind of good thing is that a lot of the time, I mean, it depends on what gifting keywords you have and how specific it is. If it's like a gift basket for mom, someone's like, I just want a gift basket for mom. I don't think that one's good. And they'll just click it. If it's like something for me that I'm looking for specific ingredients or something or certain things in the gift basket, sometimes even placement on page 2, page 3 on high volume keywords has enough search volume because people are looking for something very specific. So it kind of goes both
Yeah,
ways.
yeah, got it. Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Let's see. I had another question. Hey, Ralph.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah.
So my question is, we're selling in the patio, lawn, and garden category, and
Mhm.
admittedly, we're off season because of winter.
Yeah.
But then when I try to do competitor research, we're the third best selling product. And
Mhm.
I couldn't help but compare that our top competition is selling twice or triple the amount than we are.
Mm.
Would you recommend that I still try to do keyword research to hopefully identify the keywords that they are targeting that I'm not yet targeting, even if we're off season? Because ideally, we would want to keep our spend low
Yeah.
because we're off season. So, what do you reckon of that?
Yeah. If you have the budget for it, I don't think it's a bad idea to do keyword research. Just ahead of time, just to see what you're like where they're ranking, where you're not. That stuff can be good. And I think it just depends on how the account's converting right now, what your conversion rates are, and how much extra budget you think you can have. It's really macro, but sometimes what I'll do is you can go into total sales numbers and like, okay, so we're at 8% total A cost. I have a 10% total A cost target. Okay, so you do the 8% of total sales, 10% of total sales, subtract 10 from 8, that's your excess budget. It's like, again, it's super macro, but it kind of gives you an idea, because there's sometimes where clients like, oh, I need to lower total A cost a point. And you're like, crap, actually, if you do that math and you're like, okay, I only need to lower spend by $40 a day. Okay, that's doable. And it gives you an idea of like how much extra you have to play with. So you might do that math and just see how much extra budget you have. And then the other thing is, I don't think it ever hurts to launch those things with really low bids, like just to test the market. If you're off season, like I would definitely launch at low bids. I probably wouldn't be aggressive with it, because what you can do, and again, if the account's super volatile, I probably wouldn't. Like if we're dealing with like really struggling on an A cost, really struggling on total A costs, I might just do the keyword research and set it aside. But if you think you have room to kind of maybe test a couple keywords, I would look at some of the good ones, test them at low bids, and then ideally what you would do is you would do the research on, do I convert here? Is this good? And then maybe be in a position to at least have like, the campaigns warmed up or whatever. Come peak season, do keep in mind if conversion rates are lower, then you would just expect worse performance across the board though. So it might not be worth doing that. Again, to me, it would depend on how volatile the account is right now.
Yeah, I can say that the account is pretty stable and we have a very good A cost right now, around 20%. And we definitely have room for budget. So the other question I have is, what kind of match types would you want to launch for this situation?
That's a good question. This is just my gut feeling. I mean, I'm definitely going to touch the match types crowd, so I like that. That being said, I look at it through, what am I trying to do with these keywords? Like if these are keywords that I want to rank on and I want to get very specific, I probably go with exact match, just because I think of it as like spend deployment, kind of like exact match is, I'm going to put spend here. This is all I'm going to put it. I want to get more specific. If I am dealing with like, I'm testing the market type thing, and this is to me just assuming you don't have budget, you don't want to introduce the volatility of 3 different campaigns and 3 different match types. If you're trying to like pick and choose, I would say phrase match gives you more, again, you get more control over it, but you still kind of get to branch out. So if these are not keywords, you're like, I want to be specific here. If you're like, I want to test this market and maybe there's adjacent keywords that make sense for me, phrase match is good. Low bid broad match sometimes does some pretty cool stuff. So if you're kind of like, I'm just kind of in a low bid, I'm just kind of putting the products out there, I want to capture everything, there is some wisdom or conventional wisdom out there that says, hey, if you have a super long tail keyword, put it in an exact match. I actually like to flip that and put super long tail keywords in broad match, because what I've noticed sometimes is you get like a couple of the keywords or the words will switch and you end up with search terms that you would never have otherwise. So
that makes sense. I'm going to consider that, because initially I was interested to put it all in exact right away.
Yeah.
Because the reason I started thinking of this possible strategy is, once we're back in season, at least we've started ranking on these new keywords already as early as now. So yeah, thanks for your insights.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going after ranking, exact match is where it's at, I would say. Andy has a question. Hold on, I can't see who raised hands first. Hold on. Oh, there you are. I have to find people. Hey, Andy.
Hey, yeah, just to build on that last point, what are your thoughts for the ranking campaigns? Do you tend to do single keyword campaigns? And if you do you keep it like fixed bids, or do you just stick with dynamic down only?
Yeah, I look at it in levels of have to get this to work. So if I have to get something to work, like it's super important to me, and then I'm gonna go exact match, fixed bids, probably single keyword campaign because I want to watch it. If this is like, hey, these are the 5 keywords that I've identified that I probably think will work. I really want traction on them. Will they work? Will they won't? I don't know. And they're all roughly the same search volume. Then I might just stick them all 5 in a campaign, 3 in a campaign. I like single keyword campaigns for things that I'm trying to get very strategic with, and especially if it has a lot of search volume and I know it has the potential to crowd out other things, I'll probably do single keyword campaigns. I'm not a fan of like everything in a single keyword campaign, mostly because I also look at different levels of like, what can I comprehend? And I find if like everything's single keyword, like at that point, I just don't understand what's going on. So I try and think about it logically, if that makes sense.
Yeah, same thing I do. So appreciate it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so I've got a point to discuss here. So can you hear me?
Yes. All right. You had a point on the single keyword campaigns?
No, I have a point that Ralph discussed. Ralph discussed that he has a product on patio and garden category. So the product I'm trying to rank, which I discussed with you, is also in patio and lawn category. So maybe the ranking because of off season. Maybe this can be the point. The product is off season. It's in garden category. Maybe isn't ranking like that, and we are spending a lot because the product is in season.
Sorry, I think you're cutting in and out.
Yeah, I think your audio is cutting in and out. I think your point was it's possible you're not ranking because of off season, which I would say is true to a point. But again, ranking for the most part is determined by sales velocity through a particular search. If everybody in the category has low velocity, then you may or may not slip down in the rankings too much.
Yeah, we're not really surprised that we're not ranking because we're off season. I was just wondering why our top competitors were selling significantly more than we are, when clearly we are selling the same product. Actually, our price is the lowest. So,
well, if your price is the lowest, you might try product targeting. Those are fun.
Anyway, I think
I was going to suggest
this question. Oh, sorry, Mark.
Sorry, I was just going to say, yeah, I'd suggest if your price is lower, then you should definitely be product targeting on competitor products. And the other thing was, obviously, we all know that keywords change all the time. There's so many new keywords per day, Amazon, Google, everywhere. So just having a look at the current search terms for maybe last week and last month on, are you vendor or seller?
Seller.
I don't know if you still get access to the same search term data as vendors do, but I presume you do. But you can look at within the vendor dashboard, you can see Amazon's current search terms. Generally, you get about 200,000 of the top search terms. So it might be worth just having a look. Because you're out of season, there may not be a lot in there, but anything that's even sort of semi-related to what you're doing, there could be something in there. There might be something that your competitors are doing that you're not quite targeting.
Oh, good point. I appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah, because our price is also low and we are trying to do product targeting and we're getting good results from that.
Cool. All right. I'm going to, do you want to unmute your mic? Apparently I can't unmute anybody else. Had 2 other people ask questions. I'll bring up, or raise a hand. Sorry. I'll bring up a duel and then I guess Abdul, if you want to go first, and then
Let Hamza go first. Yes.
okay, yeah, if he wants to unmute his mic.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, how are you?
How are you? I'm fine. How are you?
Doing good. What's your question?
So, my question was, let's say we are launching a product in Amazon Europe, and it has a lot of variation. Let's say, more than 12 to 15. So, what would be the best PPC strategy for that?
Good question. Do you have any data
No,
on the product or no?
not right now.
Okay. This is I'm probably going to say something that somebody else is going to think is wrong. I'll just let you know what I would do. So I like to, if I have absolutely no data to go off of, I have no idea which one of these is going to convert. I don't know. I a lot of times will group the products in an ad group just so I can get the data back and figure out which one of these converts and which one of them doesn't. That's how I go about it. Now, some people will build out like singular, like maybe ad groups or separate campaigns for every single one of them, targeting the same keywords. I think that's a valid strategy too. I have my own reasons for grouping, which if you want, I can expand on. If you have the data, I like to use bestsellers for main keywords. Now, the difference is going to be a lot of times when you do keyword research, especially if you involve variations, you might come across what I call like clusters of keywords. So for instance, if I'm doing keyword research for a baby blanket, I'm going to come up across like girl keywords, boy keywords, maybe more like unisex keywords. And in those cases, it makes sense. Okay, so I have ones that are targeting girls. I know which variations are going to appeal to that demographic. And so I can use those variations to go after those keywords. So if you have anything that's very apparent, like if there's a color, and you find a whole bunch of keywords around the keyword black, then like advertise the black one and make sure that's the one that's pushing towards those keywords. So you will find ways that you can kind of split out what you're advertising in the variations. But then once you have the data feedback to know which ones convert best, which ones don't, I would run with the ones that are converting. And for that, you can also look at the advertising data, but you can also look at the business reports as well.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I want to suggest about that, if I may, is to also start building on your network keywords. Like if the variation is specific color, like black, you might want to start negating any other color. In that way, you want to minimize the unnecessary spend that you might get for, the buyers that are not looking for the same variation.
Yep, that's a good call.
May I add on this point real quick?
Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts because I know I have the grouping versus non-grouping is hotly debated.
I would just wanted to mention that if you are dealing with sizes, say with clothing, medium, large, extra large, and you set up a broad match or an out campaign and you use only the medium, the terms you get that have sizes will be mostly mediums because the medium won't have large in the title, so it won't be relevant for large keywords. So in such a case, I like to set up a separate campaign. I like to run all of them in one campaign, or if there's like a huge difference, like if we're not talking clothing, I may set up separate ones. But yeah, something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I like that strategy. So it's similar to what I was saying in like going through doing keyword research and identifying which products connect. It's almost doing the reverse of that in like a keyword research way. So setting up campaigns around certain subsections of the variations. I like that. Thanks for sharing. All right. Abdul, we will get to your question. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, sure. No worries. So basically, my question is, in October, I was running PPC on, I guess, six variations, and in October, our echoes was 47%. Okay, and now echoes is basically I have two issues. So one is my SP product, sponsored product campaigns are not performing well, but they are getting me ranked. In October, I was not ranked in among even among top 50 keywords.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm starting to get ranked, and I'm now in top 30 keywords. But I'm spending a lot on SP campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
but and getting sales on SB and SD campaigns as well. So my overall profitability is good,
Mm-hmm.
but just because of SP campaigns, my overall ACOS is high.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's 33% percent right now. But even but if I minus the SP spend, so it's overall 25%, I guess. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a significant improvement up till now, from 1 to 10th August, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what should I do to cut down the spend on SP campaigns and get the ranking as well? So basically, I'm
Yeah.
getting add to carts, but my product is not being considered for the conversions.
Mm.
As you know, that add to carts
Yeah.
leads to the ranking, right? So
Yeah.
what?
So my question would be, if you are seeing increases in rank and you said the account is profitable overall, correct?
Yes, exactly. We are profitable right now.
Yeah. Do you need to cut down on sponsored product spend? I know that the thought is like, okay, you definitely want to get more profitable, and if A cost is really high. But what I would be careful of is making too swift a correction for the sponsored product ads and shooting yourself in the foot with all of that traction you've gained in your ranking. So I'm not sure if it's you or for a client. If it was you, if this was my account, I would say, hey, I'm gaining in rankings. I would also calculate your what I call ad sale percentage, the ratio of ad sales to organic sales. That's going to give you, if you're seeing constant improvements in your ads to organic, meaning less of your orders are coming from ads, if you're seeing continuous decrease in total ACOS and the account is profitable overall, although sponsored products may be running a little hot, I would count that as a win. Sometimes you over leverage on ads to be able to get the account where you need it to go overall. And what can happen is if you overcorrect for that, sometimes you lose all of that momentum. So I would be really careful, especially if you said it's only like been a month or so. Like, it's a bit too soon to correct for that, I would say. And the other thing you would want to look at is, okay, so sponsored products is bringing in the highest amount of spend, but what's the ratio of sales? So you could take like total ad sale, or sorry, sponsored product sales divided by total ad sales, giving you the percentage. If those percentages are roughly the same, then I would say like, hey, they're still bringing in something. Meaning like how much spend is attributed to sponsored product ads. I will say when it comes to ranking, I don't think any other ad types outstrip sponsored product ads. Now, when we're talking about general sales, when we're talking about overall visibility, yes, let's have a conversation on sponsored brands and sponsored product ads or sponsored display ads. When we're talking rankings specifically, I really haven't seen sponsored brands and sponsored display bring that leverage. My thought process is, one, it's really native to search. It looks really good. There just isn't the order volume in the other ad types that you get through sponsored products. And you can be so specific on keywords. Sponsored brand ads, you can. Sponsored display, you're really just talking product targeting and audiences at that point, which doesn't give you the specific keyword targeting you're looking for.
Yes, perfectly. So what I'm doing from last 30 days is, um, uh, uh, on 7 November, my spend was $40 on SP campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
and 30 clicks. I got 30 clicks and $40 spent. Then what I did was I optimized the bids. Basically, I do optimization on daily basis, and then my spend went down to $26 on 9th November, but the clicks was almost same. 30 clicks on 8th November, but and 26 to 25 clicks on 9th November. So I guess it's an improvement. Should I keep doing this to cut down the spend on SP campaign? But the clicks would be around 30 or 25. So it
Yeah,
would be
per
a
day.
better strategy. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would just look at what sponsored product ads are helping you rank. So when we're looking like overall, when I'm saying like, okay, ad sale percentages, total A cost numbers, like those are account level where the action and the magic happens at the keyword level. And if we're being specific at the search term level. So what you want to do when you're trying to figure out where you need to maintain things in the ads and where you can cut back, you're looking at a keyword level. If you're looking at like, oh, I'm over leveraged on this, or when you're doing analytics, it's probably at a higher level just so you can make sense of the data. So I would go into it on a keyword level, say, hey, which ones of these are bringing me sales? I would be more careful with the things that have high order velocity. I would be more careful with the things that have good conversion rates on them. I'd be more careful with the things that are driving sales through the keywords that I'm trying to rank on. Everything else, you might optimize aggressively.
Sure. Thanks for the answer. May I ask another question? I have so many questions. Yes.
Yep. As long as, oh, actually, I am 5 minutes over. I'm gonna let Mohammed ask a question,
Yeah, sure.
and
No
then
worries.
I might have time for one more, and then I probably gotta bounce.
Sure, no worries.
Elizabeth, I have two questions related to
Okay.
product targeting.
Yes.
Number one question is, as you know that if we are targeting product targeting of our competitor, we are also showing of that competitor, let's say ranked on some keyword. Amazon also show our product of if that competitor ranked. Amazon also show our product on that keyword. The competitor ranked. Am I right?
I think people are so. I had a discussion about this earlier. So the question is, if we're doing product targeting, there is in the placements a top of search placement. So does that
Yeah,
mean we show up on keywords?
yeah, on keywords of competitor.
I am unconvinced. I don't think so. And the reason for that is because I have yet to see a keyword being attributed to an ASIN targeting in a search term report. I haven't seen it. I haven't ever seen it. Someone somewhere told me they saw it. I haven't seen it. If and when I see that, send me the screenshot. I will be happy to say I'm wrong. That being said, have I seen positive keyword traction? Things like Amazon choice badges, better ranking, positive signals through doing product targeting? Yes, I have. Do we show up on, again, I'm looking at the search term reports and I'm seeing I don't see those placements happening. Does it send positive signals? Yes. Now, if you're talking sponsored brand ads and you do product targeting, you pretty much only show up on keywords. So there's that nuance to it. So is there an attribution there? I think so. Do we show up on those placements? If you had to ask me, I would say no, but it's possible. I'll just say it's possible. Where those top of search placements happen, I don't know. There's been some speculation that you show up higher in those carousels. That's a possibility. But honestly, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. Maybe an Amazon rep knows who's actually
Yeah.
on the teams.
Yeah, I asked Mansoor and other Liron Hirikshan. They said, but I asked same question with them. Amazon show also report about search term where Amazon showing our product on that specific search terms. The second question is in product targeting, we launch product. Sometime we in the start when we launch the product, we target product targeting of our competitor for creating relevant for creating better relevancy. But if I increase 2x or 3x bid on that specific scene, but I faced the issue of keywords ranking because I observed 5 to 7 different category. If my bid on ASIN targeting or product targeting 2x more than keywords, then I faced the issue for keywords ranking.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because when I lower down the bid of that product targeting, I my keywords are also starting ranking. Keywords on different I observed. I tested this thing for 4 to 5 newly launched product.
Interesting. Now, so my question would be, are you converting well on the keywords or do you have poor conversions on the keywords? Because I have seen that.
I'm very good converting on ASIN product targeting, not good converting on keywords.
Okay. Yeah, because I have seen that where you convert phenomenal on product targeting and you convert like crap on keywords. And then if you lower down product targeting, you do affect rankings there. I would be kind of surprised if you perform really well, you convert well, good sales volume on keywords, and then product targeting lowers would hurt that. It could happen. My guess is that you're maintaining whatever sales velocity through the product targeting.
I was thinking about it. I go for the keywords ranking. We need to capture some sales from keywords because I want to rank on keywords instead of product targeting, because we also get some sales for product targeting, profitability sales who maintain my accounts. But I want to rank on keywords. That's why I focus on keywords, push them on the first and second spot.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. If you're trying to rank on keywords, it's honestly all you can do is just get really high visibility on those keywords and hope that that visibility converts. From an ads perspective, that's your only lever, really.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
All right. I have time for one more question from Abdul, and then I'm going to have to close us out.
Thanks for the opportunity. And so my question is, how can we reduce the clicks on product pages? We want to convert on the product pages, but we don't want too many clicks.
For that placement?
For product pages in SP campaigns, sponsored product campaigns.
I mean, unfortunately right now they don't have any like negative placement percentage at all. It'd be nice. They actually have it in sponsored brand ads. You can add negative percentages there, but you can't do that in sponsored products as of yet. I haven't heard anything about them adding that in. I mean, so the question would be like, why?
Because if I don't convert well on top of search, then I try to lower down my bid up to the, so that I can show on rest of search.
Right. Okay, got it.
But still, I get clicks on product pages.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's really no way to get rid of that, and a lot of times, if you have lower bids, you do show more on product pages. At that point, you're just going to have to adjust the bid based on the aggregate performance.
Sure, I'm testing in for a month, I guess, and I've not seen good results by doing just bid optimization. There should be a way. And one more thing, can we show on highly rated if I put like 100%, 200% on top of search?
That I don't know. The highly rated section, from my understanding, last we tested it, we had like really high bids on that on exact match on that exact search term, and that's how we were able to show up in those placements. If you can kind of jump that high bid through high top of search, I'm not sure. You might just have to test it.
Yeah, because I asked that question in Bedrock.
Yeah.
Group.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I haven't tested it. Let's just put it that way. And sometimes, unfortunately, because we have a whole bunch of ads running, we might have top of search and other things. Sometimes it can be kind of hard to determine which bid or which actual keyword triggers a spot if you have a whole bunch of ads built out.
Perfect. So that's it from my side. I have other questions, but I am assuming that you are going out of time, I guess.
Yeah, I was supposed to be here till 4. We're 10 over, which is fine, but I probably shouldn't be sitting here all day. As much as it would be fun, honestly.
Yeah. So may I ask or not?
No, probably not. For now, I'm gonna close it out.
Yeah, sure.
I'm already
Thanks,
a little
Liz.
bit over.
Thanks.
But I really appreciate you all being here, and I did remember to hit record. I do see the record button, so I will make sure to send out the copy of the recording
Thank
to
you,
everyone who's on the list. And yeah, I really appreciate you all. Thanks so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So
Thank
much for the
you.
answers.
Great.
Thanks a lot.
Hi, Yellen. Bye.
Bye, everyone.